So over the past couple of years, I have found myself increasingly enamored with a genre of anime that I did not even know had a genre, or a specific genre, up until I saw this. It's a cute anime, not really for, first-timers. If you're watching, there's a lot of references you wouldn't get, but that's not really the topic of today's video. Today we're going to talk about the creation and the proliferation of the Isekai genre. So what is an Isekai? Spoiler titles aside, an Isekai quite literally means the other world, or the alternative world. And this genre of anime has become very, very popular over the past few years. Of course, it has existed since the early advent of anime, but we're going to talk about why it has recently become, quite rapid in its movement and development of this genre. Now here are some examples of the more popular isekai that have come out. I'll be starting from the older ones that came out in the early 70s and 80s and move it up to, 2020 isekai anime that are now available for viewing. So did you guys notice any trends with the titles I brought up? I'm sure some of you would even say that, wait a second, some of the things you brought up are not isekai. Like that one's sci-fi, that one's slice of life, that one's an altogether high fantasy genre, that's not an isekai. Yes and no. Again, the isekai genre is rapidly expanding and proliferating. So even standard anime, which a lot of you would say, nah, wait a second, that's just, like a shonen anime, will have some elements of the isekai genre. Now, what differentiates an isekai from a regular fantasy anime is not really set in stone. Now, the method of travel to an isekai, whether it be dimensional or temporal or simply just spatial, again, not set in stone. As long as you're able to traverse to the other world or the alternative world, then it kind of just makes it automatically into an isekai. Same thing whether the anime is based for shonen, shoujo, or oftentimes the more popular harem anime, which most people are aware of in 2020. This also falls under that category. So if you take that into account, you will notice that there is a pattern here. Well, other than the fact that all the main characters are Japanese, because, it is a Japanese anime. You will also notice that the pattern most similar among all of them, as these characters can be anyone. It's very different from the earlier genres that we've seen, such as the shonen anime and some of the action-packed anime, where you have ideal characters that only follow a certain moral code or live up to expectations which are hero-like, or it's basically main characters. They have all the things and qualities that make them watchable. Isekai characters are, in, easy way of putting it is, they are very relatable. They can be anyone, they can be complete nobodies, they can just be random salarymen, they can be random college students, they can just be anybody. And this is why this genre has been rapidly on the rise nowadays. It is very, very relatable. By the way, if you are enjoying this video, and if you've watched any of my other videos but you still haven't done it, subscribe now, because not only will this help my channel, this will also tell YouTube to show you more videos which are like this, and instead of just showing you the, everyday, most popular things that you'll find in regular media. So, hit the subscribe button right now. So why is this genre of anime spreading so voraciously? It has a little bit to do with history. As we know, the Japan economic bubble burst in the 90s, and it left a lot of people with unrealistic expectations and disillusionment. But it also has a lot to do with the rise of technology and how how the world has started to adapt to it differently. The most popular example of this would be the internet, wherein originally it used to be something that, most people could just go onto and be anonymous, browse through it, and find other like-minded individuals. Nowadays, when all of the ryaju, for you guys that don't know what that means, the normies or the regular people have adopted to the internet, it's no longer such a safe space for people that aren't socially acceptable or, standardized in most of society's points of view. Because of this, we've started to run out of safe spaces. And by we, I mean the introverted people and the not so sociable members of society that don't really enjoy going out and interacting and, just doing what is normally expected from them in, that popular media tells you to do anyway. So where the internet used to be a place where you could escape and you could freely share your ideas without being judged, the rise of social media and other popular platforms that now everybody uses has made it a lot more difficult to express yourself online. Because now, the problems you had to worry about in the real world where people judge you and kind of bully you or get to know you, really, or just judge you all right together, are now translated into the digital world. So there's no way to escape this unfair judgment anymore if you don't really fit into society's social norms. And as such, a lot of people that, again, don't really fit into the mold that society asks them to fit into have resorted to finding an alternative way to, escape from reality. And this is where an isekai tends to stand out. Again, as I've already stated, the entryway into an isekai is not an overall difficult manner to achieve. You bump into someone, you stay up late playing video games, you walk to the convenience store, or, worst case, you just die and you're able to restart your life in an alternate world where you have skills and abilities that were useless in this world that are suddenly heroic and, just amazing in an alternative world. So, this sort of genre is very empowering for people that have lost all sense of capacity to contribute anything in modern society, especially with how the world is working right now. When you couple this with a main character that is relatable enough that you can place yourself in their shoes and kind of live the isekai genre through their eyes, but at the same time, they are far enough from you that if they make mistakes, you can easily point out that, that was a character mistake because of the development of his character, and I personally would have not made that mistake in the same situation. This makes the isekai genre one of the more useful and more relatable ways that people can absorb this escapist media without becoming overly dependent or being jarred out of, your personal preferences and reality. Now, one can make the argument that video games offer a similar escapist method that allow people to, live out their fantasies without necessarily requiring all these life skills. This is true, but at the same time, video games still put you in control of the character that you're playing. So any mistakes that your character makes in the game, even though they may not be you, you're playing an RPG and you're representing a different character, they're still more directly affecting to how you feel and for your decisions, rather than just reading something more passive like an isekai novel or watching an isekai anime, which again allows you to place yourself into their shoes, but like I just said, you are able to distance yourself from the main character when they screw up, and it's entertaining that way. So that's it, guys. The isekai genre is a direct response to a society that is becoming more and more connected, and at the same time much more isolated from one another. It evolved in direct correlation to video games, but it is a form of escapism that is altogether separate from video games, simply for the reasons that I have stated. But anyway, what do you think about this genre? Do you enjoy it? Do you want to hear more about these things? Would you like more videos made about it? Let me know in the comments. Feel free to like, dislike, and as usual, just leave a sub, and there's a Patreon link down below. So, I'll see you all next week.